We're so glad you're here. Today's deep dive unpacks the high-stakes race for the future of mobility, blending great news with key insights while keeping things, light, relaxed, and highly valuable. Thanks for being such a wonderful audience.
Yes. Thank you for joining us. It's a really fascinating topic today.
It really is. So buying a car used to be, well, it felt like picking out a favorite piece of heavy machinery. You'd look at the horsepower, you'd kick the tires, listen to the engine, tangible stuff, right?
Right, absolutely. It was an entirely mechanical relationship.
Yes, but by 2026, those European automakers you've known your entire life might become completely obsolete if they keep treating cars like finished mechanical objects rather than evolving digital platforms.
And that shift is exactly why 2026 is being called the ultimate point of no return. I mean, for a century, producing excellent hardware was the entire business model.
Right, that was the whole game.
Exactly. But now, excellent hardware is just a baseline commodity. It's expected. The real battleground is the software running it.
Okay, let's unpack this. Is this sort of similar to early cell phone makers realizing they were, I don't know, basically just building glass screens for someone else's operating system?
That's a great comparison, yeah.
Like if they don't own the OS, they're just an interchangeable shell.
What's fascinating here is what the industry actually calls value degradation. If European automakers don't own that underlying digital architecture, they risk becoming mere body shops.
Ouch. Body shops.
Yeah, I mean, they build the metal shell, sure, but all the massive profit margins from software subscriptions, driving data, and autonomous services, that would all flow straight to tech giants. Whoever provides the operating system ultimately owns the relationship with you, the customer.
And pivoting to that requires a massive amount of capital, which really explains why the European big three Volkswagen, Stellantis, and Renault are taking radically different paths to survive this. Let's look at Volkswagen first.
Right, VW.
They are currently slashing legacy capacity and reducing staff. It looks like they are shrinking to survive, taking a huge hit on their traditional thermal engines just to free up cash for AI and software.
They are essentially burning down the old house to fund a new one. With a 20% sales drop in China, VW recognized that their traditional scale doesn't help at all if they're building the wrong product.
Wow, a 20% drop. That's rough.
It is. So they are aggressively restructuring to build their own proprietary software stack from the ground up.
But then you have Stellantis taking almost the exact opposite approach. Instead of shrinking, they are trying to maintain massive global scale by changing how they build. They're using this asset-light strategy, right?
Right. They aren't tying themselves down to expensive single-purpose EV factories. Instead, they rely on multi-energy platforms.
Wait, so literally building gas, hybrid, and electric cars on the exact same assembly lines.
Exactly. So they can shift production based on whatever consumers actually want that month. It's a strategy built purely on agility. And to solve the software and EV cost problem, Stellantis partnered with a Chinese rival, Leapmotor.
Here's where it gets really interesting. So Stellantis is actively partnering with the very Chinese IP that Renault is fiercely refusing to work with.
Spot on. Stellantis is basically outsourcing the incredibly expensive R&D for affordable EV tech so they can get cheaper cars to market instantly without, bearing the whole cost themselves.
Which makes Renault's strategy even wilder by comparison. Renault is trying to build a completely independent European fortress. They've spun off all their EV and software development into a standalone entity called Ampere.
Renault's logic here is all about total control. By keeping everything in-house through Ampere, they believe they can develop a unified software architecture without compromising their brand identity.
I see.
And to buy themselves time to win this futuristic software war, they are heavily leveraging nostalgia. They are reviving iconic, beloved designs like the new electric Renault 5.
Because they're banking on the fact that European buyers will choose a familiar, emotionally resonant design over a sterile new tech brand.
Precisely.
So we have VW slashing and burning, Stellantis outsourcing for agility, and Renault isolating to maintain total control. These corporate philosophies completely clash, yet they are all facing the exact same regional disadvantages: high energy costs and cheaper Asian imports.
Which is why, despite these different strategies, they've actually formed a united political front to lobby the European Union.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, they realize that no matter which strategy they choose, they can't survive if the regulatory environment heavily favors their competitors. They are demanding 3 specific lifelines from the EU.
Okay, what are they?
First, they want supercredits, essentially massive regulatory rewards and financial incentives for manufacturing locally. Second, they need subsidies targeted specifically at affordable city cars, creating a shield against those cheap imports.
And the third piece is strict battery independence, right? Because if they don't control the battery chemistry, the actual economic value of the car simply leaks away to Asian battery suppliers.
Exactly. You can build the software and the shell, but if the most expensive component is imported, the profit just leaves Europe. That's the core of the 2026 deadline. The mechanical engine is no longer the defining feature of the vehicle.
The whole supply chain is turning upside down.
It really is.
So what does this all mean? It means the next time you shop for a car, you aren't just choosing between horsepower or fuel efficiency, you are buying into a brand's digital survival strategy.
Yeah, you're essentially voting on whether VW's restructuring, Stellantis' agility, or Renault's nostalgia is the winning ticket.
Which leaves you with this to ponder. In this era of digital Darwinism, which of these massive companies will ultimately convince you that the invisible software inside the vehicle is the true identity of the brand? Because, well, you can't exactly kick a line of code to see if it's reliable.